Hey, how's it going, everybody? And welcome to another edition of Guyver's Lab. What we're going to do here today is something I wanted to do for quite a while, but I don't know, I slacked. Part of it is finding these little pieces is not as easy as it used to be. What we're going to do today is we're going to turn this into a refillable lighter. Conveniently, there's a little kind of a divot right here. These also conveniently kind of match up with that divot. You get these, it's a little refill valve out of cheap lighters, refillables. Now, they used to be almost all like these, but now most of the time they're actually like a non-removable little rubber refill valve. So those aren't any good. You need one of these. If you do live next to one like the really cheap little legitimate 99-cent stores, you can go and normally they have a bunch of different little just mock different lighters, anything from like little gun lighters to hand lighters, all kinds of different stuff. Normally they have these little valves in them and they're like for $2 or $3. So you can also look around at just different places. I got this one at one of the little shops in Vegas, the little gift shops. It's worthless as a lighter. Can't maintain a flame. It takes forever to light. But it does have a good valve in it. And since I'm a big fan of the BIC lighter, we're going to go ahead and I'll keep this, set it aside as some memorabilia. But we're going to steal the refill valve out of it and throw it in here. A couple things you're going to need at a bare minimum is a drill bit that fits the diameter of the refill valve. You're also going to want probably a drill bit that's just a little bit smaller. The first thing you're going to need to do is actually bust into here. And you can see I've already kind of punctured it. I used a little hot piece of metal to do that. But we're going to take and drill it out with here. Running inside the middle of here, there's a plastic barrier. It doesn't separate the two sides completely. It does allow the butane to flow back and forth, but it does connect to the bottom here. Once we have this first hole drilled, we're going to use a tool, either this drill bit or probably this screwdriver, to go ahead and bust out that plastic barrier to make enough room so that our refill valve will seat into here. One of the things you want to make sure with these refill valves when you're removing them is that you do not want to damage these little rubber O-rings. If you damage those, the jig is up, and you might as well toss it out unless you can find a perfectly sized O-ring to replace it. Be careful when you're doing this, when you are breaking out the little bit right there. If this screwdriver snaps, these hardened steel screwdrivers are very sharp and it will go right through your finger. This finger's already been through quite a bit. You can see I've got my old scar there. There's a puncture wound from, I think, this screwdriver a couple of weeks ago, and then I stabbed myself in the finger with a knife last night. This finger takes all the abuse in my hobbies. Let's get started here. First thing we're going to do, you can do this with a power drill or you can do it with a hand drill, or if you don't have either, you can just make it work with whatever you got. I used to just use one of these screwdrivers that was perfect diameter, and I would just kind of drill it in there by hand. But being that I own a power drill now, we'll do it that way. Alright, so careful of your fingers. If you have a vise, I recommend using it. If you don't, I continue. And while we're in. The reason you want to start out with that smaller bit is because when you pop through, a lot of times it's going to kick the bit off to the side, and if you're using the good diameter that matches this, if it kicks that bit off to the side, it's going to actually extend the hole to kind of an oval or an egg shape, and we don't want that. So we're through. Hopefully you can see that. I apologize if the drill is interfering with the sound. So I know sometimes when I mess with the power equipment, it does that. So take your little tool and get in there and just pop out that little plastic barrier. Try not to damage or mar up the hole any more than necessary. Alright, so we can see here by wiggling around that we have about that much. Now, that's quite a bit more than we need, but better safe than sorry. I've never actually figured out a way to get all the little bits out of here, but you shake it as much as possible to try to get them out. If not, most times it's going to be filled with butane, and you won't actually even be able to tell that they're in there. So now it's time to switch to the proper diameter drill bit here. Couldn't tell you what it is. It should have been in my little box, but it wasn't, so off the top of my head, I'll look at it in a second, see if it has an actual diameter on it. But the diameter of these does vary, so you're always going to want to make sure, even if you match it up perfectly to this one, that doesn't guarantee it's going to fit. Always do a size check. Hold it up, not to this part, but hold it up to this other part. Let me go ahead and show you. This is vital information here. Whatever tool, drill bit, or anything like that, you want to take and hold it up to the shank right there, and it should completely eclipse it, for lack of a better term. But to an exact size. You don't want to be able to see any of it for just a quick moment, and as soon as you flip it out on the other side, you should be able to see it again. Whatever tool you use, that is one of the most important things on here. So let me see. I don't actually see a marking for what size bit this is, so you're out of luck on that. But I'm sure you guys are all smart people, you'll figure it out. At least most of you. For those who aren't, please be careful when you're doing this. I take no liability for any injuries that happen from any of the content that you see on my channel. Voila. Now, there's a few different ways to do this. You can try to just pop it in there, or you can try to actually lubricate it with like a little hand soap or something like that. We're just going to take it and this one's going to want some little lubrication. Give me 2 shakes here. Alright, so you don't want to use any kind of petroleum-based lubricant or anything like this. A lot of lubricants like that will actually break down the rubber over time. So what we're going to use today is just a little dab, and a little dab will do you, of just good old regular hand soap here. And take and rub. Don't get it all over the place, just over those seals right there. That's all you need. And take, and once again, just kind of pop it in there, and you'll feel it click into place. There it goes, just like so. Now, it definitely is not the most appealing as far as aesthetics. You can take, and once you have verified that this thing doesn't leak, you always want to check that on it. You can take and fill this in with an epoxy. You could even use hot glue, something like that. Kind of round it off or level it off, bring it out. Whatever you want to do with it, There's all kinds of things you can do with this now. This lighter will last you forever. In another tutorial here, I'll try to do it today, I will show you how to replace the little flints in these guys. And you can get them for free. People toss out these things all the time. I have so many of these BIC lighters that I've just found that are empty, laying on the street. But most of them have over half of a good flint left on the inside of them. So with just a quick little know-how, you can change out with a flint in these things in like 2 to 5 minutes. It's easy. What we're going to do real quick is we're going to go ahead and pressure check it. Give me one moment here. Let me grab the old butane. Alright, so we're back here, and what we're using today is Ronson multi-fill butane. This can is almost empty, but hopefully it will get us through. I use this stuff for my torch also, for any soldering or anything like that that I need to do. So, we're going to take and fill her up. And this, like I said, this is empty, so I don't think we're actually going to get a discharge as far as, hey, you're full. But as anyone knows, with a BIC, you can only hold it up. Wham bam. You guys saw the hole in it a few seconds ago. There was no fuel in there. Once you do this, take another lighter and just kind of hold it up. You'll see if there's any fuel leaking out, it'll ignite. You don't have to worry about it exploding the lighter, blowing the lighter up. There's not the proper fuel mixture in there for it to do that. You need a little bit more air in there as well. Another thing you can do is you can take and actually submerge this end into soapy water, and if there's any kind of leakage, you'll see little bubbles coming up. Well, that about concludes this tutorial. We went from this to this, everybody's favorite lighter, the BIC. Now you can keep it forever, decorate it, do whatever you want to do with it, and this thing will be a good friend for the rest of your life. These things are almost indestructible. I've never had one blow up on me, pop on me, anything like that. And the ability to refill them is something that I think that BIC really should look into, because who knows, you know, I would love to be able to refill my BIC lighter. You know, it's the greatest lighter on earth as far as I'm concerned. All right. Well, this has been another episode of Guyver's Lab. Thank you for watching, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to leave them down at the bottom. I've also switched, dropped all my advertising on YouTube and have gone over to Patreon, and I should have a PayPal up soon as well if anybody wants to, you know, help to support the channel a little bit. If you like what I do here, you want to help get more content out to you guys. In the meantime, hopefully I'll get a couple more videos out for you soon here, and I look forward to seeing everybody again. Have a good day, everyone.